Here is my 2016 ZX10R. I'm going to be doing a review and a description of all the parts on it. It's the ABS version, and it's also got the KRT paint scheme, which stands for Kawasaki Race Team. I've had the bike for about 3-4 days now, and I've put 190 miles on the clock. Best thing about this bike, I'd say, is the suspension and the braking capabilities of it. The ABS system on it is a new one designed by Kawasaki, and it's apparently, I don't have a clue, but apparently it's a bit of a game changer. Going on to the suspension, this is pretty much the reason why I bought it. Gas forks, you don't really see these on production bikes, and I think this is one of the first, if not the first, to come with them. One of the things I noticed straight away is how hard you can brake without that wheel slipping. And another thing is the confidence that it's given me in the corners. Slow, fast, anything like that. Bike feels so stable and planted. You really do feel good when you're on it. The other thing about it as well is it's nice and stable. The bike feels like a 600. It feels stable and it's turning quick. Like it's everything that I want from a bike. Next thing you can see is the M50 Brembo Caliper. It's got Brembo discs on it as well. I think they're 320mm, braided lines, and a Brembo master cylinder. It's a 16 ratio on that, so it's one of their softer ones, but it gives a real nice progressive feel. Like I was riding this in the wet and grabbing hold of the front brake to lock up the system, and I was really surprised how much effort it was taking to get that front wheel to actually lock up and skid. The rear shock on it as well, I'm not too sure of what that is. It'll probably be a shower to match the front, but they work really well together. Riding position, I've got stock clip-ons and stock rear sets. I've got no need to change them whatsoever. Really happy with the riding position of this. I'm 6 foot tall, and to be honest, it fits me like a glove. It's spot on. Going on to the exhaust system, you're getting titanium headers. See where they've blued off? That's because they're titanium. They've been designed by Aquapovic as well, apparently. You then got a catalytic converter, which is 2.5 times bigger than other years. And if you look at the decat that Aquapovic sell, apparently that is stealing about 13 brake horsepower, which is obviously loads. And then I've got a stock can on. I have ordered their performance package, which gets you an Aquapovic can and some tank protectors up here, but it's out of stock for a month. Going on to the look of the bike, go around, see it's quite aggressive on the front. Doesn't really look too different to as it has done for a few years, but it's a good look and it works. As for mods that I've done on this bike, I've only done 2 so far. One is a tinted raised double bubble, and the second one is a tail tidy, which is made by, I've forgotten now, it's made by Evotech. There we go. Obviously just tidy up the rear end. I will be looking to do the pair mod, take out the cat, get my nice can on it, and then get it all remapped as well. So going on to the other features of the bike, looking at the dash here, you can see one of the main things that this bike is about is the electronics that it's got with it. So the ABS system that I'm talking about is called Curb's Kawasaki Intelligent Braking System. You can have this bike leant over, use the front brake, and not only will the front not slide out, it won't actually take you off your line. It'll help you hold your line while you're going around a bend on the brake still, which is pretty clever stuff. The rear ABS system is a bit more on and off, but let's have it right, it's a sports bike. Who's braking off of the rear brake? No one really. The ABS can't be disabled unless you get a module or unless you've got the race ECU. So on a road bike, it is always on, unless maybe you can pull a fuse, but I don't know about that. So we'll turn it on, and you'll see that there is a power there, which is set to F, which means full. I can change that to low or medium as well. Underneath that is KEBC, which stands for Kawasaki Engine Braking Control. That is set to off. You can also set it to low, so I guess there's less engine braking. With it being an inline 4 though, I ain't really got any need to make that any lower. Engine braking is hardly existent anyway. Underneath that you can see KTRC, that stands for Kawasaki Traction Control. That's set to 4 at the moment. There's 5 settings of traction control, with 5 being the highest, and there's also an off, so technically there's 6 settings. Underneath that is KQS, that stands for Kawasaki Quick Shifter. The bike comes as a quick shifter standard. You can turn it on and off through the screen. If you've got the race ECU, it also can work as an auto blipper, but on a stock ECU it doesn't do that. That's something I'm hoping like Woolwich software or something might be able to enable, because I would quite like to have an auto blipper, and knowing that the bike's capable of it is a bit frustrating, to be honest. You can see that you've got your gear selector there as well. A little triangular symbol comes up here to let you know when you're being economical and not riding hard enough. The other thing it's got on it, it's got 3 settings of launch control. So the launch control's got 2 that let it out at 8 grand and 1 that let it out at 9 grand. I haven't used it yet because, as you can see, I've only got 190 miles on the clock. The bike's full of mineral oil and I'm still running it in. Got a lap timer, pretty standard these days to have a lap timer. And one of the things that I wish it had that it doesn't is a proper fuel gauge. All it shows is when you need to put fuel in it, but it'll show you your MPG and stuff like that, and I've been averaging between 35 and 40 at the moment. The steering dampener is also electronic, and all the traction control, steering dampener and ABS are all working together. The ECU's got a 5-axis sensor, so it's reading what the bike's doing: lean, pitch, angle, how fast you're going, all them sort of things it's taking in, and it's working out whether the bike's going to need any changes done to it. If the back wheel's going to slip, the front wheel's going to slip because you're braking too hard. If you're going to need the steering dampers, it's got a good chance of kicking in. So it's all adjusting and working, and to be honest, you can't really feel it. I say you can't really feel it, I can't feel it. I feel like I'm just riding on any other bike. Power wise, the bike is making 200 brake at the crank, 210 with the ram air effect according to Kawasaki. Like I say, that cat is steering a lot of power. That exhaust is a load of shit as well, and you've got the pair mod to do. So once you've done them 3 things and you had a custom map done for your bike, I think you're going to be seeing between, well, I'd like to think you roughly be getting about 195 at the wheel out of this thing. One other thing that I can fault it on, for the road use anyway, is its gearing. First gear is a really tall gear, so it takes a little while before you start to get into a power range on the bike, so you find yourself slipping the clutch just to get a few more engine revs out of it. If you used to change the front sprocket down one, I'm sure that problem would be eliminated. But this is my Kawasaki ZX10R 2016. If anyone is interested in buying one, or just wants to know a bit more information about them, feel free to ask me a question, and I will try to answer it for you. Next thing you're probably going to see is me riding the bike. One thing I like about this, as stupid it is, don't need to hold the clutch switch to turn it on. I fucking hate having to do that. One thing that catches me out on this bike is I have all my gear shifts on my other bike set as a race shift pattern, so I go up and then down for the rest of the box. On this it's set to the normal way, so it catches me out quite a lot. But you see out here, it's 11 degrees, starting to get a bit of sun, but the roads are still wet. So it's 30, it's 30 down here. I can go 30. You see that? Just stop straight away. So, stop. There you go. Feel the ABS kick in quickly there, but it stops the bike straight away. It's a real good system. I would test the rear one again for you guys, but to be honest, you won't be able to tell that I'm doing it, because you won't hear it well enough or feel it, because as you're probably aware, rear brakes don't really do a lot on a super bike, apart from help slow you down when you're on a bend and you just want to tuck it, bring it in a bit tighter, or if you're being a dick and you just want to lock up the rear. And on this you can't lock up the rear, so it just clicks in and out. So I am going to the post office this morning. I've got a parcel to pick up. So, like I said, the main thing that made me pick this bike was the gas suspension. I really like it. I think it's great. But the reason why I've got myself a new bike is my bike's like 13 years old. It's been all tuned up. It's running 350 brake now. It's got a massive turbo on it. And when you're just going out riding with the boys and you just want to go down the lanes and stuff, you're not using any of that power. It's kicking in, it's kicking out because it wants to be in boost. And I wouldn't say it's hard to ride because it's not. But all these new bikes are coming out. I mean, they've got aluminium frames on them. They're running close to what my turbo's running on low boost. And they've got all the electronics and all the advances over the last 13 years with bikes. And I'm thinking, do you know what? I actually want some of that. Like the engine on my bike, which is the Kawasaki ZX10R, it's tuned, but that engine's actually was pretty much identical to the K1 engine. So that's like putting us back 16 years. So I don't think there's been as much change with bikes over the last 16 years as there was the 16 years previous to that, but there is still a lot of changes that are going on. I've only tested the traction control once on this. And it was me being a dick basically. It was wet and I'd only put about 40 miles on the bike, and I pinned the clutch out with a load of revs in first, and it just lit up the rear. It did step out as well. I had too much weight over the rear as it done it, because I weren't expecting it to kick out as much as it did, but the traction control saved my arse. So I've got it on setting 4 at the moment. If I want, I'll just hold that for half a second, and there you go. You see I'm on setting 5 now. I think these settings for power, I'm not really a big fan of them. I think they're a load of bollocks. But if it's raining and it's hard and you know you're not going to be racing about, then you might as well slap the bike into medium power. It ain't like you're going to really notice the difference. It's taking the top 20% off, and it's just smoothing up the throttle response for you, which means you're going to get a bit more grip round bends without that traction control having to kick in. But my favourite things about this bike is the handling. It feels really light and it gives me a lot of confidence. And as you see me test the brakes earlier, the brakes are ridiculous. I was out with my mate yesterday, he's got a Z1000, and we pulled up to a set of lights and I just really come in hard on it on purpose and locked it up. And he just looked at me like quite shocked that the bike can stop that quick. So yeah, that's one of the things I really like about it. Also, if you look through my channel or you search GSXR Cadwell crash, you'll see that I had a real stupid crash on a track day on a K1 750. I had the rear brake like pointing up probably about 3 inches too high, maybe 4. And basically it was impossible to cover the rear brake. I don't use the rear brake, especially on track, but I do like to cover it. And at that moment I did cover it. I had noticed that the rear was locking up, so I was aware of it and just trying to get back. But then, my mind's going blank. Yeah, but then someone overtook me. Completely legit move, didn't do anything wrong, but someone overtook me, and I then went into natural mode of covering the rear brake because I wanted to brake as quick as I could. What we got going on here? Good bit of traffic down that way. Yeah, basically someone overtook me, I covered the rear brake, locked up. One thing I'm really good at, if I get in a bad situation on a bike, I really like to tense up on the bars and crap, and where the bike was locked up but I didn't realise I was pressing the brake, I didn't think to release my foot off of it for a few more seconds, and by the time I had gone off it was all too late and I had to bail off of the bike. So it's quite a stupid crash, and I learnt a lot from it. but it stays with me now. The amount of distance that I'm giving myself to braking and my corner entry speed is just ridiculous, and is something I'm really trying to tackle and improve on. But anyway, enough of me and my stupid riding, back onto this bike. With the ABS and the traction control and stuff like that, it does improve the way that you can come into corners, because you know that you're not going to lose the back end and you're not going to lock up the front. And going from someone, if you watch my videos where you see me lighting up the rear end and sitting across the handlebars doing burnouts and crap, you'd think that I was probably pretty happy with all that happening, and I am, but only at about 20 mile an hour. So this is why it's good to have a bike in Colchester, or pretty much in most places in England. This sort of time of day, there's just so much traffic going on. Most of the miles I've done on this bike have been in the wet. Got some real good ones in yesterday, which was good fun, but yeah, most of it's been like wet and sticky like this, which results in me getting the bike back home and absolutely scrubbing it to make sure that there ain't bits of salt and that left on it.